Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I wanted to talk about bullet journaling. Now, my first experience with bullet journaling came when I purchased a weekly spread planner from Etsy. The weeks were already laid out, but in the back, it was a dot grid bullet journal. And here is where I really loved that I discovered that I really visually enjoy dot grid better than line for making lists. Doing this and having little squares and things that I can write off, I see the words much more clearly when there's no constant horizontal line competing with it. Now, I don't know if that's like a typographical hierarchy or anything, but this is how I really started to fall in love with it, and I gridded things out for future drawing challenges. Like, it's really easy to draw squares and rectangles and shapes with or without rulers following the dot grid, and it became really easy for me to lay out and prioritize things. And I think that's really sort of the bonus of doing bullet journals and this style of journaling. Now, what I have is an Archer&Olive, and this one is created by a woman named Bonnie. And if you go to their webpage and you go to sort of their mission, she talks about her mental health struggles and her diagnosis with mental health, and how bullet journaling really helped her in therapy and doing some of the things she wanted to create. Now, I just wanted to show you some little samples of what different things look like. This is a Copic Chow. This is an alcohol marker. Obviously, there's going to be bleeding and ghosting with alcohol markers. Most bullet journals from bullet journal companies are 160 gram thickness of paper. They are thicker. Where I think they deviate and delineate between different companies is with the coating and sort of the quality of the paper structure. Now, there are videos where folks have gone in and purchased tons and tons of bullet journals from different companies and compared them, for folks who prefer to do wet media like watercolor, or folks that prefer to do ink. For fountain pens, this is a Pilot pen. Nothing shows through. This is a Pigma. This is the BB. Nothing shows through. Here is a Copic multi-liner. The paper's really thick. I tend to use dry media. I tend to just do pencil. I tend to make notes. If you are doing something like acrylic paint or gouache that isn't watered down, let me show you an example of where. So here was some gesso recipes I was trying. And if you're doing your acrylic paint without water, it's perfectly fine. There's no bleeding or anything on the other side. I have tons and tons of wild notes, but I thought we would try something. So here's some Winsor Newton drawing ink, and I'm going to paintbrush this on because that's how I prefer to do my drawing inks. Nibs are really scratchy, and I just don't care for how they run across the surface. You're like, wow, that is a bright scarlet. You are correct. This is fugitive. It is not light fast. It's not bleeding through. So if I do multiple, it's still not bleeding through. So it takes to other media very well. Let me use, I have some watercolor paint. I have a feeling that watercolor, I don't know how sized this paper is for watercolor, but I have a feeling that the results might be mixed. So let me get a different brush, and we will activate some of this stuff over here. And I will link all the products in the description box. So far it looks okay. I think if you're doing single layer washes, you should be fine. And as long as you don't have huge pools of pigment, nothing will bleed through. If you start really layering and working, I think you will pill this paper. Yeah, it's already starting to pill. So you have to be very, very careful. Be very strategic with your washes and how you line things up and put things on. Now there are tons and tons of different ways and layouts and design ideas that you can do when you bullet journal. I will also link a few creators on YouTube that do nothing but bullet journal. And it's such a great way to organize sort of monthly spreads, weekly spreads. If you prefer to do daily lists, it helps you prioritize because you can lay out when you box things up. She said she could draw lines. I can sometimes. You follow the dot grid. This is just a micron. So if you want to track goals, if you want to track your spending, your habits, what you're reading, things that make you happy, if you're doing a gratitude journal or something like a feelings journal, travel journal, reoccurring tasks, deadlines, dates, things, your mood, ovulation, things like this, birthdays, references. If you just want a brain dump so you can go to sleep at night and things are keeping you awake. I like keeping track of watering my plants because that's something I tend to forget sometimes. Packing lists, different things that you can have that you reference if you travel certain places multiple times. Bucket lists, home improvement, contacts, illustrations, collages. A lot of people sort of create their lists and then put tons of art with it. Now I have tried to do that, and what happens is I spend 2 to 3 hours on the spread and then I have no time left to create in my sketchbook, and I would rather do sketchbook. So this just became notes and layouts for how I plan and organize my sketchbooks and my drawing challenges. I make a list of everything I want to draw. I make sure I add more than I need, and I just keep going with it. So if you want to create a project, if you want short-term goals, long-term goals, lists of things like 50 things to do before you hit 50, maybe your favorite quotes, favorite things that make you laugh, movies, if you're keeping track of things like that, mind maps, grocery lists, affirmations, meditations. There's so many different ways, how you exercise, how you sleep. You know, if you're doing a food tracker, if you're looking for food allergies and you're doing like a food elimination diet or something, things to keep track of, your routines, waiting on stuff, you know, advice, just things you want to keep down. And you can, because this is a blank page, you can organize this any way you want to. Your imagination is your limit. So if you want to sort of put this into quadrants, if you need circles, ooh, can I draw a circle? And maybe this is, you know, my groceries. This is bills. This is, you know, this is going to be a pie chart of how I spend money. Maybe I'm saving for a goal. And, you know, I need to have, let's say we need a new fence because our fence is falling down, and we were quoted as $20,000 for a new fence. This would be a way to set up a page to organize how we would save money, budget, put that all into context so we can keep that going and do that. I really, really enjoy bullet journals. I think this is a great way for those of us that are super visual to lay out a list and then to be able to sort of reorganize that and visually see it all on one page. We can prioritize a little bit better. We can really analyze because it's written down. Sometimes things have to be seen and read to be fully understood and appreciated and negotiated around. So I hope this video helped a little bit. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll link a ton of other resources about bullet journals in the description box. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.